AI suggestion to the from AI suggestion to the secure execution. So I will talk more about why these things are matters and what are the general AI concept which people are using it, so that it will help you to understand how I am correlating these items when I am explaining during the session, and what is the MCP and what are the MCP fundamentals, and what is Sitecore MCP, Marketer MCP, and how we can extend and create our own MCP to do the continuous improvement or do the complete automation to the workflow, and what are the principle of a responsible AI which we need to follow. I will be covering it. So this is a small introduction about myself. Myself Amit, and I'm currently working with the Avnard as a manager. So I'm having around a 20 plus years of 21 plus years of experience, and I will be mostly working on the Microsoft tech stack. So you can reach out to me via any of the social media channel, or you can scan the QR code if you need to discuss anything or you need any help, and I will be happy to collaborate. And coming to the first section, like why this matter now. So you know that AI is everywhere. So everyone is using the AI to perform all type of work in their day-to-day task, right? So Gen AI and Copilots are the mainstream nowadays, right? But most of the enterprise are stuck because they can't do or interact with their backend system with the help of a Gen AI Copilot, because Gen AI and Copilot stops generally at a draft, summarizing or providing the insight, and they cannot go beyond that, right? That is the real challenge faced by the enterprise system, or you can say that the execution bottleneck, because agent cannot do the complete workflow automation, and because they are not aware about the system to whom they need to connect. So for example, if you are trying to summarize or create a product page, right, for like a mobile, any sort of mobile page or a department page for any of your website, so you are giving the context what you wanted and the content is front of you, but what will you do with the content which you receive from that? In those cases, someone needs to manually pitch in, and they need to log in into the CMS, and they need to update the content. Or if you are updating a list of the records which you received in terms of a CRM, or you can say that a product catalog you need to update in any downstream system in CRM, or you need to create a user 360-degree profile in CRM or Dynamics. So you need to log in into the system and you need to do that. But if you are having some sort of a tool which will help you to do these automation, that is the best, right? Because you don't need to perform the manual task. So that's why there is a need for some standard execution comes into the picture, which will help you to do the continuous improvement and the automation in the workflow. So this you can think about as a brain without the hand, right? So all LLMs are very good in the intelligence. They can write a blog, but they cannot reliably create a page or perform any CRUD operation in the backend system, right? Because uh, they are having all the knowledge, but they can't explore the tools by themselves. You can create a automation in agents by giving a API endpoints, or you can giving a payload in a Python. They can be executed by your AI agent, but in those cases, it's not secure or governed, right? Because everyone is having exposure to the security keys, or you can say that the key value pair which is required to connect with any of the system, or a password which is present, or which is shared by the everyone, right? So those are not the governed environment, because you are not having the role based access, so that your agent is knowing and what type of action they can perform into the downstream system. So in those cases, AI can incredibly good in the thinking. They can do the reasoning, they can draft the content, even they can suggest the next step, but they struggle to do the actual things, like suppose the content is there, how to generate that. So in those cases, there is a complementary roles comes into the picture, like a agentic AI and an MCP, right? So they can help you to bridge the gap, or you can say that the fill the gap which AI cannot do that by themselves. So if you are seeing here, right? So AI and LLM can do the reasoning, right? They can give you the ideas, they can draft, and they can recommend, right? In those cases, someone as a human needs to comes into the picture, and they need to take the content, and they need to log in into some system, and they need to perform the action. So that is the execution gap, so that AI LLM is not having the direct access, and that's why humans comes into the picture, and they need to perform that. So that's why it's a brain without hand problem. So we will try to solve this problem in the upcoming slide. So now coming to the AI concept, which I will try to explain that. So everyone is working on the all these terms nowadays, like a GenAI, Copilot, AI agent, and Agentic AI. So generative AI, GenAI is the brain, because you are utilizing the LLM models into that, and they are good in producing the new content, text, images, and ideas. So it means their strength is in they are having their strength in terms of generating the content, summarizing the things, and providing the ideas. But limitation is that they are not having the execution capabilities, and they are not having the direct access to the tools which they can utilize. So Copilot work as a assistant, which will embed the GenAI, like you are using the Claude desktop, or you are using a GitHub Copilot, and you are generally selecting the LLM models into that. So they observe the user context, and they provide the suggestion in real time. So what is the meaning of that? When you are using the GitHub Copilot or any sort of ID where you are utilizing the LLM models, they are having the memory. So those memory will be using to perform a action uh, if user is coming back again. For example, if you are updating the content in CMS and some content tree, so that context, if you are in the current session and always you are using that session, so you are always having a context, and when you will try to say that create a new item with these detail, so automatically it will take the context, and it will go and update that place. In those cases, it will help to minimize the token utilization. That way you can save the token itself, and also they are very good in the user experience, because whenever you are utilizing any sort of tools, every tools are sharing the data in the most of the time in the JSON format. So suppose if we will show the data in the JSON format, then user will be not able to understand what is happening. That's why whenever you are interacting with the Copilot or a GitHub Copilot, you are getting the very well presented information which you can easily observe, or you can ingest into your next task. So the limitation of this Copilot is that they are not autonomous, so they are limited to hosting the application, and they cannot orchestrate the system because they are not having those capabilities. So in terms of the AI agent, so those are the specialists. So AI agents wrap Gen AI within their context, and they are meant for a specific goal, and you can create a n number of AI agent for a specific goal. It means they are very good in the task execution. Like suppose if you need to find all broken links in some of the website, or you need to do filtering results, or you need to perform simple operation in terms of a doing the uh, Chrome dev tools for your website to execute that how your website is performing. So you can create a specific task. Or also suppose if you need to get a weather information from a specific country or specific region, so that way also you can create the agent. And also you can implement a API based automation, like I was explaining. You can write a Python, or you can add any sort of language into your agent, and you can give the payload also into that, and that way you can create that. And so it's specific to a goal oriented, because it's interacting with the one set of endpoints only. So in terms of agentic AI, you can think of as a manager. So it introduced the automation, reasoning, and the planning. So manager means that it's having the capability to orchestrate. So suppose if there are n number of agents are there, and people are coming to say that I need to book a ticket for a summer, and I need to book for a specific climate or a specific location, then this manager, what it will do, it will divide the big task to book a ticket into chunks of a small task, and it will align or create autonomous workflow, and it will assign to the sub-agent. And then each sub-agents will be generally passing the output to the other. For example, if I am trying to book a ticket for the summer for a specific location, so what are the climate condition during that time, that will be passed to the hotel booking agent, which will identify that what are the time frame is good, or a you will get a reasonable price ticket, and based on that it will also search, pass those information to the flight booking. So that way they are interacting with each other in a autonomous workflow. So that way the agentic AI will work. So in simple terms, like in terms of a capability matrix, so everyone is having their own primary role. So if you will talk about agentic AI, they can do the planning, reasoning, act, and they can take the action also. But they cannot also interact the enterprise system, because they are not having the tools, right? And they're also good for the best complex course. But when you will integrate agentic AI with the MCP, then they can easily interact with the downstream system or other systems in a secured and governed way. Now coming to the MCP fundamentals, so nowadays people are working on the AI, right? So they will talk about that they are interacting with these systems. So, but how they will interact? So as I was explaining in the previous slide, some people are writing the uh, JSON or a jQuery in the agents or a Python code to interact with some of the downstream system, right? So those way you are adding all the payload and everything. But what about the security? Because you are exposing everything. So in those cases, the things which we generally do in the AI world, in terms of writing a PowerShell scripts or a Python into agent itself, that is not going to help. So in those cases, the things which were missing between AI and enterprise system is standard tool discovery, typed input, output, permissions and the audit trails, and consistent execution gateway. So these four building blocks were missing, and these four building blocks will be completed by the uh, MCP tools, right? So MCP provides a standard contract between a AI host and the tool server. Its infrastructure for, you can say that, a safe governed execution, and also it's a open standard. It's not like that. Suppose if you are working on a .NET tech stacks and you need to create your own custom MCP, or you need to consume any other MCP, you always needs to you consume the .NET base. It's not like that, because it is a open standard. So you can create a tool in a Java language also, and you can consume that. Or if any tool which is created in a Python or any other language also, you can consume into your application or your automation which you are trying to do that. Tool discovery plus invocation, because whenever you will create a MCP tools, it is having a set of the description or a details which you need to follow. So I will be covering those in the upcoming slide. That way you are exposing all the details of your tools to your AI agent, and AI agent will generally will map those with the normal human language, so that the natural human language, so that if user is typing or giving any query, so agent can correlate what tools I need to call or invoke. And also type schema, because when you are creating any sort of a functions or anything in your API also, you are exposing the parameters also, and what are the types of those parameters, like it's a string, integer, or what sort of a mapping, or you can say that the structure of those, like if you are creating the GUID or expecting a GUID in the string format, then you are generally doing the string check also, what type of uh, ID is it, it is in the 16 digit format or not. So all those things will be exposed to the AI agent, and so that AI agent will be knowing that if user is passing something, if it is incorrect, then AI agent can say that this is a wrong thing. So that's why it's also providing the tool discovery, and all the payload will be exposed to this. And permission scope. So whenever you are creating any tools, you need to interact with the backend system. So those backend system will be required some sort of a tool or a authentication like OAuth or anything. So whenever you are integrating your tools into your ID integrated development environment, like Sitecore Marketer MCP. So suppose if you will start that MCP tool, then it will ask you to logging into your Sitecore AI, Sitecore Cloud portal. If you are not having the access, means your authentication is failed, then your MCP server won't start. If it is started, then it will ask you to select any of the environment on which you are having access. So suppose if you are having the access to the cloud portal, but you are not having access to the any specific environment, then you won't be able to utilize the Sitecore Marketer MCP. So same way, whenever you are building any sort of a MCP, so you can add your own flavor of security into that. So that's why it's a permission scope. What set of permissions are present for a people who are running that. Auditability and governance. The meaning of this is that whenever you are using the Sitecore Marketer MCP, because you are already authenticated and authorized, so if you are updating anything into the Sitecore content tree, your name will be present there. It's not like that I am using the service account or something like that. So that's why governance comes from the infrastructure, right? To the MCP. It's not a any intelligence or anything done by the AI. And in simple word, MCP is not an AI model, it's a bridge. So bridge meaning that whatever the steps which we will trying to do manually, those are being, you can say that automated by the MCP tools. So coming to the next slide, it's MCP model. So as you are seeing here is that AI app or a host is nothing but your GitHub Copilot or a Claude desktop, and there with the help of some configuration you are having the client for your MCP. So generally MCP will be work in the form of a host client server. Host is hosting the MCP, which work as a client, and then MCP client is using the work as a client server mode where they are interacting with the MCP server in the help with the help of a JSON remote procedure calls, because you are already your MCP client is already having a list of the tools and the description and everything. That's why it's able to discover you, and based on the whatever the descriptions you have added with your tools, those are being mapped with the human natural languages, then it is called by the specific agent. So that way you are bridging the gap which you generally do doing the manually, and then at the end MCP server will be interacting with the downstream system, like how you are interacting with the Sitecore Marketer MCP, where you are having the uh, Sitecore AI system, and when you are telling to create a item, then automatically it will go and create a item into the backend system. So in simple terms, like how the workflow will work when you are combined agentic AI plus MCP. So some user is giving some goals, right? I need to create a page for a mobile and needs to upload into Sitecore. So agentic AI will do the reasoning and planning, and it will divide the task into a sub agent, and based on the content whatever it will receive from the models, it will pass those content into your MCP server, and MCP server will validate and execute that the data which is expecting is came from the users or not, or a prompt. If not, then it will return back to the agent, and agent will retry again by themselves and will ask a question to user like these things are missing and these are the errors, and at the end it will update the enterprise system. So it means that agentic AI decide what to do next, and MCP tool will validate like it's authenticated or authorized request or not, and execute via approved tools, and the system will return a structured result. So like I was telling, so whenever you are writing or creating any method, then you are having a return parameter, and also what you are accepting from the end user, those things will be there. So based on that, agentic AI updates plan based on the result. Suppose if you are utilizing a create a item, then item will be created and the result will be returned to the end user in terms of a page or a rendering item ID or a page item ID. Now, if you need to perform a next step or if you need to add any sort of a rendering into that, then also you can, and this user agentic AI can plan in those manners. So in this case, whatever the steps which we need to perform, like a tool invocation, those steps were manual, and with the help of a MCP server, it's automated in a complete workflow. So now coming to the Sitecore Marketer MCP. So Sitecore Marketer MCP also applies the MCP to the Sitecore marketing task. So it's meant for the marketing team because they will generally go into the Sitecore CMS after logging in and they are clicking to create a item. Generally, whenever content authoring team will work, they are having the data in terms of a Excel sheet or in terms of a Word file. From there, they will do the copy paste. So those are the manual tasks. Generally, it will take a 1 hour to create some sort of a pages. So in those cases, Sitecore introduced this Sitecore Marketer MCP tool. So these are the MCP tool set for marketing workflow, either create page or add rendering or run some sort of a A/B testing. So those things are present, and also it's mapped with the natural languages like create page. So automatically your Agentic AI or a GitHub Copilot will map with the create item fields and it will create the item. And at the end, this Sitecore Marketer MC is using the Sitecore Agent API, which is internally interacting with the Sitecore backend system to update the record. And it will work with multiple LLMs clients. So it's not like that you can run only with the GitHub Copilot or specific LLM model. You can utilize any sort of models to perform the action. So coming to the capabilities and architecture, like as I explained, right, it is meant for the marketer. It can create a component management, also localization, also personalization, and asset update also. And in terms of architectural interaction, it will be sit between the your host where or ID from where you are running the prompt, and also between the uh, Sitecore API agent, Sitecore agent API and MCP client. It will sit between that because it is taking the input from the client to perform the action and then passing those internally to the Sitecore agent API so that the Sitecore platform can be updated. So it's a governed environment, role-based access will be there, and consistency. So consistency meaning here is that it's not like that the next time will you come and create the item, agent will be bringing up any other method which is not useful for that. Why? Because these MCP tools is having a predefined description and the payload like I was explaining earlier. So your agent will be having a concrete information like how to map these things accurately so that every time when you will be coming, it will be execute the same method without any error. So that's why it's a consistent approach they are providing it. So in terms of a before versus after, like uh, in the previous or a second slide, I shown that it's a brain without hands, and I was telling that some human will be coming into the picture and they will perform the action via CMS UIs. But when the MCP will be introduced, then MCP execute those manual tasks safely in an autonomous way. So now coming to the extensibility and the adoption, how you can extend or how you can create your own MCP tools to perform any action. So all you are working on the Microsoft tech stacks, right? And you are more eager always to create anything in the .NET. So we are having the C Sharp SDK for the to create this MCPs. So what you can do that, suppose if you are having any system, for example, if you are having any CRM system which is taking a user data, for example, if user is submitting something and you need to insert that data into the backend. So generally what you will do, you will take the payload and you will upload manually, or you will write any sort of jobs, right? Or any marketing data which needs to be feed from a site core also, and it needs to be feed to the backend system also, like your product catalog is having a MSU, which is having a price detail, product details, and those things, and someone have created that. So instead of logging into the CRM system to update that, you can create some sort of a flow where you will be interacting with your CRM system. Either it can be a SAP system or dynamic CRM. So you can use your own uh, SDK to connect with this system, and you can expose those methods so that if you need to, if someone is giving like a update this MSU and create a product item also in the Sitecore. So what happened that you have given the task to your Agentic AI to perform two steps process. One is to update in the CRM and take those data and pass on to the Sitecore to update that. But for the Sitecore, you are already having the Sitecore Marketer MCP if you are working on the Sitecore AI. But if you are working on the Sitecore on-prem, then you can also create your own custom MCP tools, and then you can do the uh, handshaking. So in terms of how to uh, create those things, so let me quickly share the solution. So generally what happened that you, for to create a MCP tool, you generally will create a ASP.NET Core. It is not a .NET 4.8. It's a ASP.NET Core solution. And then you need to add a packages like a Microsoft Data.SQLite. You need to utilize the Microsoft extension .hosting, and you need to use the Model Context Protocol SDK. With the help of that, you can create your own MCP tools. So generally, it will give you the program.cs file. So generally, you will do your service registration, because when you are doing the calling any third-party system or anything, you will be creating some classes and you will use the dependency injection. So for those, you need to add these lines of code. I will be sharing the details, and also for logging purpose, you will add details, and then you will register your MCP into the .NET dependency injection with the help of this. And what is the mode of transport like STDIO or other, you need to do that. And then you will tool from the assembly, like you will be doing the providing the auto discovery to all MCPs via reflection. So those details via assembly will be shared to your agent. So that way those interaction will happen. So once you are done with these basic program.cs files, then what you need to do that you will be coming and you will be creating a tool for that. Which tools you wanted to create, you will name it, you will create a class for that. And then what you will do, you will decorate your class with the MCP server tool types. So this does the SDK, it's a tool container. So tool container can have a multiple tools. So for example, I have created a one sample tool called a get child details. So my purpose is to get the child details from the Sitecore AI. So same way you can create your own on-prem also tools or any tools or a functions which is missing in the Sitecore Marketer MCP. You can also create by yourself. And in this function, you need to also mention a MCP servers tools. You need to decorate. So, and you need to also add the clear description. What is the purpose of this? So this retrieve child item detail from Sitecore by specifying this will be exposed to your agent. So that's why when you will say that child details, so automatically your agent will be knowing that which MCP tool needs to call, and also it will ask you to share the item ID or item path and the language also, because here I am passing the default language. If I will not provide, then automatically English will be picked up. And if you will see here, I am clearly writing that the item path will be how the item path would be and what will be the GUID. So I am exposing all the details and what will be the type of those parameters. That's why I was keep telling it's a type set, because if you are passing any other parameter, then it will may raise a error to you and it will retry by themselves. So I am self exposing all the details which is required by my tools to be executed to the agent. So these are the things will be exposed. That's why your agentic AI or agent can do the tool discovery and type safe. They can do that, and they can auto discover what are the tools are available. So for this, I have created a one simple service. So what I am trying to do that I am having a API key, because once you need to connect with the Sitecore Edge endpoint, you require the Sitecore API key that you need to pass, and also the URL. So currently, what you can do that you can pass these things via environment variable. So that's why I was keep telling that these implementation are secure. Why? Because when you are using the environment variable, so anyone is trying to use your custom MCP tool, they need to add their own credentials or a security keys to execute these tools, unless and until you are not checking your own keys into the your code repository. So that's why it's safe. And also when you are utilizing the environment variable, when you are deploying to the Azure or any cloud infrastructure so that it will be available to all, so in those cases you will be creating the environment variables for those, so that it can be passed from there itself. If you are deploying a generic service account, then it can change from environment to environment. So that way you can implement the security and you can make it secure. And also whatever the query you wanted, you can write it, or whatever the action you need to add it, you can do that. And generally I will be so it will just execute the things, and it will serialize the things, and it will return back to your tool. So that way you will be having a complete output from your Sitecore AI tool, and it will be passed to the AI agent. Same way, I have created I have this sample code. What it will do, it will having a list of the monkeys in the form of a JSON. It will make a HTTP client call, and it will get those data, and it will return back the JSON data. Same way you can, if you are having a CRM system or anything, you can connect with your downstream system or enterprise system within the credentials, and then you can try to update the data, or you need to, or you can perform the CRUD operation itself. So now if I will try to show you the demo how generally it will work. First of all, I will explain how this will integrate. So when you are working with the Cloud, you need to add a entry in the this Cloud desktop underscore config.json file, and you need to give the name. You can give any name, like Amit, or you can give any name, and you need to define the path of your .NET exe, because you are writing in the .NET, and how your agent will know that what is the type or what type of tools are there, because it needs to execute the code also, compile the code also. That's why you are giving the path of the .NET exe. If you are using other language, then you need to give the command line which needs to be used to execute, and also the path of your code base. And same way when you are working with the Copilot, the entries are different. You will be passing the type, and you will be just giving the .NET, then automatically your system will be able to recognize it, and it will be able to compile or run the code base. So the best thing for this is the MCP tools is that you don't need to deploy anywhere. Only when you are creating any sort of application as your functions, or you can say that any website, like how you are getting the site code, you need to deploy somewhere. But in case of MCP tools, when you need to, if you are creating your own, you don't need to deploy anywhere any infrastructure. So that's why it will help you to improvise your operational things also, because it will be working under the context of a current user itself. You are not exposing it, and people don't need to run it. If you are having the Mac system, or your uh, marketing team having the Mac system also, even they can also execute that, but just they need to install the this .NET compiler. You can say that they need to install that. That's it, and they do not need to run it automatically. When you will start your MCP server, it will compile, and it will take all the data like which is required, like a tool details, it will be exposed. So that way you can integrate that. So once you are done, and when you will be using any tool or anything, so for example, I am using the currently Cloud. So suppose if I will tell to give me the list of tools, because I have added the configuration into Claude and some I have directly added into the Claude desktop. So that's why these are coming. But if you will see here, this is my custom tools and it is taking the name which I have mentioned here like MCP Sitecore AI. And the tools count, you can see that I am having a one eco tool which is having a two method like eco and reverse eco. And I am having a monkey tool which is having a two method like get monkeys and a get monkey. And I am having a this uh, selling service which is just having a sorry selling tool which is having a one method called a get selling. So that's why it is giving me all of the tools. And also if you will notice that it is giving a data also get child item by path or GUID. So how it will know that? Because I have added those descriptions here. So that's why it is giving me this detail. So suppose if I will say that monkeys. So let's see what it will do. So you know that I said the monkeys. So it's automatically went to the get monkeys method and executed it. So if I will say the monkey, so it's not that I am not telling the monkeys, I am telling the monkey. So automatically it's asking me to which monkey details I want. So if I will be passing some and it will provide me the details of that monkey because it's already having all the details in a JSON format for that. Like suppose if you will see that all the data is in a JSON format and also it's a representing in a way that normal human being can understand. Otherwise the JSON cannot be understand by the people. So that's why this is one of the attribute of the ID that they are presenting the data in a understandable format. So same way, if I will say that print date details, so it's asking you to is sharing the details from the Japanese only. But if I am what I am trying to do that eco details. So eco tool presented with this, right? So suppose if I will say, so it's automatically took the data which is for that. But if I will say eco hello world, then it will call the eco tools. And when I will say the reverse, then it will take that tool and it will reverse that. So now if I will say the tool like child details, so please provide the item path and those details. So how it's knowing that? Because I already giving the self explanatory description which is mapping with the natural human languages. That's why it asking me. So suppose if I will say the path, so it will automatically calling get child details by passing the payload because it's knowing that both are the uh, string parameters. So that's why it's so now if I will pass a this, so it will automatically give me the details. So that's way it is automatically accessing the required function by mapping what user are typing it because all the tools have been exposed and they are having the list of the tools with the description. So these description is really matter because when you are trying to create any sort of functions or a tools, so your description will be just match with the how human are interacting in a day-to-day work. It's not like that uh, update department data because user is not telling that I need to update department data. They will say that update department. So, so you should provide the description in a well mannered so that it will be easily understandable. So that way you can extend your uh, uh, AI agent. You can say that the workflow, or if you are not having any MCP tools and if you wanted to create your own, so that way you can create the new tools also. We come to the So now coming to the responsible AI in practice. So whenever you are using the AI, right? So responsible AI is generally a practice of designing, deploying, and operating AI system in a safe manner, and it so that it will be running under the human accountability. It means whenever any output is generated by the AI, some people will be there who will be monitoring, and they will be having a complete authority to be marked as a completed or to accept that. So that's why whenever you are using any sort of tool, there will be a disclaimer in the bottom that it's AI generated content. So that's why in other words, so responsible AI ensures that AI system operates safely, transparently, and under human and organizational control. So with that way, you can implement a responsible AI. So if you have seen that I shown you, you can add a this keys which is required to execute any sort of tool, right? So that way you are providing the safety and transparency is that suppose if anyone is running tool, they need to provide their own credential and they are knowing that where they are updating the data. So that's why it's a transparent and clear that what action they are going to perform. And under human means human is executing that they are knowing that which system they are trying to access, that where they are trying to update. And also whenever you are writing any sort of a agents, you always will add a human in loop touch. Means suppose if you have updated a created a content one time in a home node or under the home about us page, so next time if you will say, it will automatically go and create the data or a item in the same location because this id is having a context of your past sessions. So that's why whenever you are doing some sort of automation in the AI words, you always needs to confirm from the end user where you would like to update. Like you are trying to update at a home node or a about node, or do you have any others or other location where I need to add the content. So those types of small steps or a confirmation you needs to be added so that if someone is giving 100 of items to be updated in the site core, it's not like that it will go and create all the data in the same location. So that's why you always needs to add the human accountability whoever is running your automation tools. So in simple word, it enforces the least privileged access. So that's why I was telling you, no, don't need to use the service account or a admin account, because if anyone is running, they should be having the accountability and they need to use their own uh, authorization to do that. And you need to add the logging and monitoring if you are creating any custom tool, so that you will be having a complete track of that who executed the AI tool. Because when you are creating the custom MCP tool, developer can download the code or marketing team can download the code and they can execute that. But how you will monitor that, who updated that, unless and until you are not passing the username or anything to the backend system, you will be not able to identify that who executed this task, right? And you should have the clear human accountability for any sort of outcome. So that's where you can implement a responsible AI in your AI implementation. So coming to the last section of a today's session. So I tried to explain what is the gap in a complete automation, why the enterprise uh, uh, organization are not adopting the AI, and what are the gaps and how we can bridge those gaps, and what is the marketer MCP and how we can create our own custom MCP and MCP fundamentals, and how we can integrate those tools or host those tools into the VS Code as well as in a cloud desktop, and how the MCP your agent is having a complete details of the tools and how they are knowing that what type of parameters they need to pass. Those things have I have explained. So now if you are having any sort of questions, you can feel free to ask me.
Okay. Any question?
So it always, so suppose if you are not having a question currently, you can feel free to ping me anytime. And what are the resources which you can utilize to learn it? So you can scan this QR code and you will be able to get it. Uh, what are the things or articles which you can use and you can start your custom MCP journeys, and also you can scan this QR code and you can connect with me with any of the social media channel, or you can ping me in a LinkedIn also if you have any queries with respect to this session, or if you want any improvement in this session, or you are looking for some other topics also in near future, you can feel free to ping me.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the great session, Amit. So I got little
Thank you.
distracted just before
No
the
problem.
time. Okay. So I couldn't end up with the good note. Yeah, sorry for that. Yeah. Yeah, any questions or something if you want to explore more things about this, okay, already be notified that you can connect anytime, Amit. Yeah, it is a very good learning, and I can also see Amit, okay, uh, how we can explore the things. Okay, so there are the ways,
Yes.
right? So we have
Yes.
to explore. Yeah,
Yes.
so I just say, wow, maybe I don't know
Thank
how
you.
many people say yeah, the things are there. Okay, so we need to explore. So we have many ways. So now we
Yes.
have AI, and we have the ground, and we have to just go and watch, okay, what is there, and we have a sources, right, to read and learn, and we already have I think, okay, free source are there, and free open source is there, and we have
Yes.
still, yeah, so we can go and explore. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
Great, Amit, for the great session. So I really
Thanks.
liked
Thanks
it.
a lot.
Yeah, so
Thanks a lot.
I wanted to see one more time because I was trying to following you. To be
Mhm.
honest, yeah,
Mhm.
at some point of time I got a bit lost, and after that, okay, again, yeah, so somehow, okay, so I wanted to.
Yeah, there is a one question in the chat. So where
Let
is the
me check
chat?
that.
Let me see the chat.
Yes, fine.
Wait a minute.
The impact of AI on content
On the
optimization.
impact of AI on content authoring the day to day. So as I was explaining, right? So if you are using the Sitecore AI, with the Sitecore AI, you can perform the AI operation very easily. You do not need to do anything. What you need to do that to create an item, you know that you require the site name, you require the template ID, and you require the parent location, and you require the number of you can say that, but if you are using the template, right, so you already having the standard template in use, which will be automatically having your own you can say that the renderings. But when you are creating the using this Sitecore Marketer MCP, so whenever you are creating any page with the page template, so automatically the local data source item also would be created. So in those cases, you can create a prompt, or you can say that the Excel sheet or a JSON, and that you can pass to your agent and tell that please read this, and if you are having any doubt, ask me, and what are the renderings are there. You will be knowing that, because if you are using the article page, you will be having article description or some sort of a component. So you can add agents, then automatically complete automation will be there. So you just need to nourish, or you can say that the design your AI agent, and rest of the work is the automation with the help of a Sitecore. So you can reduce a lot of manual time which you are doing to do the content update with the help of a marketer MCP.
Yeah. Yeah. Any more question, guys? Yeah.
So thanks everyone for joining, and thank you for the Kuala Lumpur group for giving me the opportunity, so that I have shared my knowledge with you guys all. So thanks once again. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you, Amit. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. Bye.
thanks a lot. Bye bye.